It is then 9:01 a.m. according to my phone. And I would like to call to order the teleconference meeting of the Building and Operating Committee of Thursday, December the 16th, 2021. Before we begin, please note this meeting is being recorded. Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. Starting with Director Cochran.
Here.
Director Conroy. Absent Director Fredericks.
Here.
Director Hernandez. Absent Director Maston.
Here.
Director Rabbit. Absent Vice Chair Garbarino.
Here.
Chair Theriault.
Here.
And President Parr.
Here.
Thank you. Also on the line, you have Directors Hill, Rodoni, and Snyder. And as I mentioned, you're not a committee of the whole, but you do have a quorum. I'll confirm staff on the line. And I have Janice Mulligan.
Yes.
Joe Wire.
Yes.
Ava Bauer-Furbish.
Present.
Kim Manolius.
Morning.
Steve Miller.
Here, good morning.
Thank you. I'll also add that we also have soon-to-be Bridge Manager Dave Rivera on the line also listening in. So just so you know that there's another staff person on the line. Mona Babauta.
Present.
Jim Swindler.
Present.
And Kelly Hopper.
Good morning.
Good morning. And that confirms staff on the line.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phones until after staff's presentation, and remember to unmute and identify yourself when we open up for director discussion. If there are any comments or questions, the Secretary or I will call on you accordingly. And again, I will welcome comments and questions from any of the non-voting directors if we don't actually achieve committee of the whole status. Following our discussion, we will ask for any public comment before moving on. Please follow along by referring to the page numbers located on the bottom of your meeting packet. We'll start with agenda item number 3, to approve actions relative to reducing wind-induced sound emanated by the Golden Gate Suspension Bridge West railing. Staff report begins on page 3, and we have Chief Engineer Ava Bauer-Furbish on the line to present the report. Ava, please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The staff report on the agenda number 3 covers development of a sound reduction measure that staff recommends for installation on the new west railing of the suspension bridge. I'm happy to report that we have developed a relatively simple solution to a complex issue of the wind-induced sound emanated by the new railing. The railing, as you know, has been installed as part of the suspension bridge main span wind retrofit. And this has been done under the ongoing suicide deterrent construction contract. First, I would like to briefly explain why we had to construct the suspension bridge main span wind retrofit. It has been established that deck trusses of long-span cable-supported bridges can be vulnerable to damaging aerodynamic instability under strong winds, and that the aerodynamic stability of such bridges is sensitive to the solidity of the external railings. If the railing is not sufficiently transparent, the suspension bridge deck truss could become unstable during extreme wind events. A well-known example of a catastrophic result of aerodynamic bridge instability is the Tacoma Narrows bridge collapse that happened in 1940. To prevent this from occurring at the Golden Gate Bridge, the district conducted wind tunnel test of a scaled model of the suspension bridge main span. The test showed that the wind retrofit was necessary for the 4,200-foot long suspension bridge main span to withstand sustained strong westerly winds exceeding 68 miles an hour. Part of the retrofit was the replacement of the original bridge layering on the west side of the main span with the new, more transparent railing having thin tickets. The wind retrofit has been installed under the ongoing construction project of the suspension of the physical suicide deterrent. So as the wind retrofit installation progressed in 2020, the bridge began emanating sounds during high wind events. The sound appeared to be a result of the wind passing through the new west bridge railing. To determine what caused this phenomenon and to develop an effective sound reduction measure, the District Commission Services of ADDR Engineering, they are the designer consultant for the suspension bridge wind retrofit, and the sub-consultant, Rowan Williams Davis and Arvin from Inc., they have an expertise in aerodynamics and acoustics. The consultant conducted sound measurements on the bridge and wind tunnel testing of a full-scale specimen of the new bridge railing. Through this testing, we found that the sound emanated by the railing had two domineering tones, a low-frequency tone and a high-frequency tone. We found that the low-frequency tone appeared when the wind was approximately perpendicular to the railing, and its onset was at wind speed of approximately 22 miles an hour. Also, a frequency of the low tone changed with the wind speed, and that frequency ranged from 280 hertz to up to 700 hertz. So, with respect to the high frequency tone, this tone appeared when the wind was at an angle less than 80 degrees to the railing, and its onset was at a wind speed of approximately 27 miles an hour. The high tone frequency did not change with the wind speed and persisted at about 1100 hertz. The two tones did not appear to be correlated, as the onset did not occur at the same wind speed and direction, and the loudness did not increase and decrease simultaneously. So, what are the mechanisms of tone generation? The test has revealed that there are two aeroacoustic noise-generated mechanisms causing the sound. Both mechanisms are related to the pickets of the railing, and they are both caused by airflow vortex shedding and from an edge of a picket. As wind coming from the ocean side of the railing flows around the railing pickets, the airflow oscillates around the obstruction. In this case, these are pickets, and vortices like tiny twisters are shed from the trailing edge of a picket. The low frequency tone is caused by an interaction of the railing picket structural vibration modes with vortex shedding from the picket. As the wind speed increases, the frequency of shedding increases until that frequency matches the frequency of picket structural resonance. Otherwise, we call it vibration mode. At this point, a feedback loop occurs, increasing both the amplitude of picket vibration and vortex shedding. The pickets then radiated this vibration to the air as a sound, so the mechanism is similar to a speakerphone. The high frequency tone, on the other hand, is caused by an interaction of standing air waves between pickets with vortex shedding from the pickets when the vortex shedding frequencies match the standing wave frequency. So this phenomenon is purely acoustic and unrelated to any mechanical vibration of the picket. With this knowledge in hand, so knowing what mechanism we were involved in the sound generation, the consultant tested several options of sound reduction measures. The most effective among these measures to eliminate or significantly reduce the both tones were U-shaped clips fitted over the edges of the pickets. This measure was further optimized with additional series of wind tests. The final sound reduction measure that staff is proposing for implementation consists of 1/16 of an inch thick tapered U-shaped aluminum clips with alternating orientations of the clips and with 1/16 inch thick vibration rubber damping material inserts on both edges of each picket of the new West Bridge railing for the full length of the main span of the suspension bridge. The way this measure will reduce the sound is by U-shaped clips obstructing the formation of vortex shedding and by rubber inserts damping vibration of the picket. How effective is the proposed measure expected to be in reducing the sound on the bridge sidewalk? So 110 tests of different combinations of wind directions and speeds were performed to test this measure. The tests show that the measure would either eliminate the sound completely or reduce it by 10 to 40 decibels, except for two wind speed direction and speed combinations when the sound level dropped less than 10 decibels. So for reference, a drop in the sound sound level by 20 decibels is perceived subjectively by human ears as a 75% drop in the sound loudness. And a drop in a sound level by 10 decibels is perceived subjectively as 50% drop in the sound loudness. Also, there were 4 tests of specific wind direction and speed combinations when the railing with the proposed sound reduction emanated sound exceeding 80 decibels. For reference, a sound is generally perceived by human ears as noticeable or intrusive if it is greater than 5 decibels above the ambient sound level. So we measure an ambient sound level on the bridge sidewalk, and it turned to be about 75 decibels. As such, tonal sounds of up to 80 decibels on the bridge sidewalk will be inaudible to just audible, but not annoying in that location. Based on the bridge wind climate analysis, it is estimated that such events that exceed 80 decibels of a sound generation may occur total about 88 hours a year. So for comparison, there are 8,760 hours in 1 year. So how effective is the proposed measure expected to be in reducing the sound at a distance from the bridge? The consultant recorded several measurements of background ambient sound to confirm that the residential areas near the Golden Gate Bridge meet a typical approximately 50 decibel suburban acoustic environment. Sound levels after the installation of the proposed sound reduction measure are predicted to fall significantly below that of the measured background levels, more than 10 decibels below the typical background. The consultant performed analysis of expected sound level away from the bridge in case of the aforementioned worst-case scenarios. Because the level of sound traveling through air is affected by many factors such as distance attenuation, atmospheric attenuation, topography of terrain, and other factors, if sound is generated by the bridge after the sound reduction measurement is installed, the analysis show that at the locations away from the bridge, the sound would be inaudible, except for the 4 wind tunnel wind speed and direction combinations when the sound on the bridge exceeds 80 decibels. In these cases, the sound would be only slightly audible at the locations away from the bridge. In addition to its sound elimination or reduction effectiveness, The proposed sound reduction design allows for the clips to be easily fabricated and painted, to be readily installed on the bridge railing pickets, to be durable enough to withstand the harsh environmental conditions at the bridge, to be relatively easy to maintain, and to have a profile that does not alter the appearance of the pickets, and lastly, to have no negative impact on the effectiveness of the wind retrofit. I would like to add that in addition to damping vibrations of the pickets, the benefit of the rubber inserts will be that the inserts will physically separate the aluminum clips from the steel pickets to prevent galvanic corrosion. To assess the visual effect of the clip installation on the new West Bridge railing, the painted tapered aluminum U-clips with rubber inserts have been installed on one bridge railing panel, and this is shown on two photographs included in the staff report on page 6 of the DNO committee packet, or otherwise page 4 of the staff report. The architectural preservation consultant retained by the district has reviewed the visual effect of the sound reduction measure and determined that the appearance of the pickets with the clips will not be noticeable and will not affect transparency of the structure, which is the project's architectural criteria. The implementation of the sound reduction measure is considered categorically exempt under the California Environmental Quality Act because it is a minor alteration of the bridge railing that will not expand the existing facility or alter the current use of the bridge railing as a barrier between people using the sidewalk and the drop from the bridge beyond the sidewalk edge, nor it will alter the use of the railing as a bridge element that allows wind at the bridge site to pass through with the least obstruction to assure aerodynamic stability of the suspension bridge during high wind events. In addition, the installation of the sound reduction measure will reduce the potential for the railings to create the sound that can arise during certain wind events. The elimination or reduction of the sound is beneficial, does not have the potential for significant effect on the environment, and will not require major revisions to any prior environmental review. So, if approved by the board, staff will file the notice of exemption with the City and County of San Francisco and the Marin County. The implementation of the proposed sound reduction measure will involve contracting for fabrication of dies that will be used to form the aluminum clips, and fabrication of the clips, painting of the clips, and fabrication of rubber inserts. The installation of the clips and damping material will be performed by the district bridge forces. Engineering staff has estimated the cost of fabricating and painting of the clips and fabricating of the inserts at approximately $450,000. It is anticipated that the majority of the expenses will be spent during the current fiscal year and that sufficient funds are available in the current Bridge Division operating budget. Any expenses expended in the future fiscal year will be budgeted accordingly. Staff has estimated that implementation of the measure will take approximately 12 months, which includes 31 days or a month for the CADEX to come into effect, 4 months for the procurement of clips and inserts, and 6 to 7 months for the installation. So engineering will work with the bridge forces to decrease the extent possible, the installation time. However, we know that we will have little control over the lead time required for the procurement of the clips. So with this, staff recommends that the Building and Operating Committee recommend that the Board of Directors approve the proposed sound reduction measure as presented in the staff report. Approve the addition of the suspension bridge sound reduction project in the fiscal year 2021-22 Bridge Division operating budget, estimating the project cost of $450,000, and authorize the filing of a notice of exemption under CEQA for the suspension bridge sound mitigation measure project. So with this, I'll be happy to answer any question the committee may have for me.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett-Furbush. Fascinating stuff. Do any of the directors have questions or comments for Ms. Barrett-Furbush?
Director Maston, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead, Director Maston.
Yes. So do we have a plan B if this doesn't work?
So we know this will work because we spend so much time studying in detail. And we also know that in terms of the physical installation of the bridge, my engineers were able to install these clips very easily, and they are still there, and it seems like they're holding up really well.
Okay. Well, we all look forward to this then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Maston. Do any of the other, I'm sorry, go ahead.
A question I had was the rubber inserts. Do they have a lifetime? Is there a maintenance issue? As you said, it's exposed to temperature, wind, damping, rain, sun, and everything else. Do you have a concept on maintenance? I think probably the rubber inserts are going to be the thing that will require more maintenance.
So the thing is that because the inserts are hidden under the aluminum material, their exposure to the elements is greatly reduced. And we know that there will be instances where we will have to replace the clips. They may be hit by some objects or something may happen. So we will be procuring additional number of those clips. So we will have them readily available if in case we have to change them. Also, we investigated the type of paint that would be the most durable for using with these clips, and we found a product that is very promising and has a better life expectancy than the normal paint we use for painting our bridge. It's really good for the use for this particular application.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and thank you, Director Hill. You asked a question I wanted to ask, and I got the answer that would satisfy me. Any other directors with questions or comments for Ms. Bauer-Furbush? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, do we have anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this?
We do not have any speakers for this item, but I wanted to just let you know we have, let's see, Director Grosbull and Director Conroy joined us during the presentation. So I just want you to know that officially we are a committee of the whole.
We are now a committee of the whole, and I am a bit surprised we don't have anyone from the public to speak on this, but then I guess the next item is to ask for a motion on Ms. Bauer-Furbush's recommendation.
I'll so move, Director Terre-Haute.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you, Director
second,
Conroy.
Mrs. Maston.
And there's a second from Maston. Madam Secretary, you have those, I assume? Can we do a roll call?
You got it. Thank you. Starting with Director Arnold. Absent. Director Conroy.
Aye.
Aye. Director Fredericks.
Yes.
Yes. Director Garbarino.
Yes.
Thank you. Director Giudice. Is absent. Director Grosbull.
Yes.
Director Hernandez. Absent. Director Hill.
Yes.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Melgar. Absent. Director Rabbit. Absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie. Is absent. Second Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
First Vice President Terrio.
Yes.
And President Parr.
Aye.
Thank you. You have 11 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The motion passes then, and we'll move along to item number 4 on the agenda, which is our monthly report from the board appointees to the Sonoma Marin Area Rail Transit Board. Brief staff reports on page 15. President Parr or Director Garbarino, which of you would like to go first on this?
We'll let Director Garbarino go.
All right,
Alrighty.
Director Garbarino.
Thank you so much. Yes, we just had a meeting yesterday as well. So Eddie Cummins, our new general manager, gave his report then on the status of SMART, the update. And I'll start with freight. The final freight market report will be distributed on Friday, December 10 and posted on the website. It includes what the options are in terms of management and the vision for growing the freight service as well. In addition to that, the COVID testing program was reported as well. On site will be, it'll be delivered, the service will be delivered, which is great. And SMART, fortunately, has an 84.5% rate of employees being fully vaccinated. And that testing program, I want you to know I took notes, but I'm having a hard time reading my own writing. That testing program began on December 13th, so a few days back. There was also a very wonderful toy drive, the 6th annual, that happened in the Santa Rosa station location and the Novato-Hamilton location as well. Planning for the future, there will be strategic planning taking place in January and early February timeframe with Eddie, which will include the information that he will report back from his community meetings with folks. The idea is to have the board and the staff align, and we're very much looking forward to that. There was a lovely party as well on Tuesday afternoon with staff and board for Farhad Mansourian's retirement. It was very sweet, and the comments made by staff touching. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you, Director Garbarino. Before we get to that, President Parr, did you want to supplement this report in any way?
No, Director Garbarino always does an amazing job. The ridership is improving slightly, though. I think that's good news for all transportation agencies. So we're all just hanging in there on ridership.
Well, thank you. And let me remind others on the meeting call that if they're not actually speaking, they should put their phones on mute. Do we have Director Rabbit, Madam Secretary?
I am here.
Director
I just walked
here.
in. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Did
I have
you
nothing
want to
further to
add anything, Director Rabbit?
No, I have nothing further to add. We are in, I shouldn't say that. We are in January going to be looking at a more strategic planning going forward. Just make sure that everyone's on the same page, pulling the same direction, and that we're responding. I think it's timely with our new general manager. He'll have a couple of months under his belt. He's reached out and talked to a lot of different people, understands the issues that much more, and it'll be a good time for the board and the general manager to discuss the items that'll be important in this next couple of years, actually. So I think it's timely. That's it. I appreciate the report.
All right. Thank you. Do any of the directors have questions for our representatives on the Sonoma Marin Area Rail Transit Board or for Director Rabbit on this item? Hearing none. Is there anyone from the public who wants to speak on it?
We have no speakers on this item.
Okay, so then we move along to item number 5, which is the status report on engineering projects, which begins on page 17. Ava, it is your microphone again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My written report is before the committee, and I'll be happy to answer any questions the directors may have for me.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer-Furbush. Do any of the directors have questions for Ms. Bauer-Furbush on her report? And Madam Secretary, again, is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment?
We have no speakers on this item, but before we move to public comment, we did have a couple of lines pop up. We'd like to pull the public line again. So after we move on to public comment, I'd like to have a moment.
Okay, then please do.
Thank you. Bear with me as we pull once again. Thank you, board members. We do have a speaker for public comment. Mr. Shane Weinstein would like to speak today. So in a second, I'm going to connect the call. Shane, are you there? Hello?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone on the call. You know, I was listening to that, and I actually drove across the bridge last night at 9 o'clock going northbound, and I had a crack in my window, and I had to literally roll it up. It was so heavy in my ear. But the one thing that I did want to say was it probably would have been really nice to kind of have like a Zoom presentation to be able to see what you were talking about. I mean, I know, Director Rabbit up in Sonoma and Director Rodoni and Director Arnold, all of them are on a Zoom meeting where you can't see the public, but it would have been really nice to kind of follow along. So I just wanted to kind of make that statement, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weinstein. I will note that the materials are on the district's website. I have them up and was looking at them myself as Ms. Bauer-Furbush was presenting. And anyone else who wishes to can track them down there pretty readily. So that would, anyone else, Madam Secretary, in the public?
That's it. That concludes public comment. Thank you.
Then the only item remaining is adjournment. Can I have a motion to that effect?
I'll move. Cochran.
Okay, second?
Second.
I'll give just an instant for people to object. Hearing no objection, this meeting is adjourned as of 9:34 a.m. Thank you, everybody.